Hi guys, it's Annie, welcome back to Bloom TV. Today I am going to be doing a non-spoiler review of Grave Mercy by Robin LaFevers, which is the first book in his Fair Assassin trilogy. This was published in 2012 by Anderson Press, and it is the first in a companion trilogy, I believe, the second book being Dark Triumph and the third being Mortal Heart. This is a historical fiction novel set in 1485 in Brittany, which at this time was a separate country, but it's kind of on the northwest edge of France. And it focuses on the character of Ismay, who right at the beginning of the novel has just been married off by her abusive father to another man who seems like he will be very abusive too, and she is luckily rescued by one of the herb people of the villages, kind of like a doctor, medicine man or woman, I can't quite remember, but like kind of every town or village or hamlet has one in this time, and she is rescued by one of those and kind of sent along a string of these medicine men or women or people, and is then finally arrives at a convent on an island where everything is not as it seems, and it appears that it is no ordinary convent and that the nuns actually train young girls to become assassins and spies. If that concept doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what will. That was what really drew me in, because I just heard people describing this as kick-ass assassin nuns, and I just thought that sounded so fabulous. I actually didn't know this is historical fiction. I just assumed it was fantasy, but it is historical fiction, but it has fantasy elements kind of woven in. They have this god who is like the god of death, who they kind of pray to, and there's some sort of magic involved with that, but it is mostly historical fiction, although I'm not entirely sure how historically accurate it is, but it is set during the 15th century. And Ismay as a character was really great. Basically, after she's sent to this convent, she is sent, she's kind of trained, and you skip forward a couple of years until she's sent on her first assignment to murder somebody or assassinate somebody, because they are a spy for France, and in this period France and Brittany are kind of and they have an uneasy alliance with each other, and Brittany thinks that France, who is a stronger country, who have more political stability, will attack them kind of any day soon even. And Ismay wants to work for her country, and after she assassinates this person, she is sent to the court of Brittany as kind of under disguise with this other man. She's kind of in disguise as his mistress, to find out more about what is going on and if there is a traitor in Brittany's court. It's kind of, I have kind of explained the first 100 pages there, but that is kind of the synopsis, and that kind of that is all on the back of the book, so I feel like that's not a spoiler or anything. But Ismay as a character was really complex and really interesting. I really love her. She was so well developed throughout the novel. She's quite kind of not shy exactly, but she's very kind of timid, not even timid, she just develops really well and into her own person as the novel goes on, and I just really loved her. Her loyalty is tested quite a few times, and kind of her loyalties change, and it's all really interesting, and I think she just develops really well as a person and really comes into her own by the end of the novel, and I just really loved her. I had a really good connection with her, and I just really liked her as a character and as a person in a book. The world building is fairly well done. As I said before, I'm not quite sure how historically accurate this is, but I think the politics of the time were really well done in this book. There's a lot of political intrigue and mystery, and I think that was really well done by the author. And the plot as well is really well done. This is quite fast-paced. I kind of had to get into it. I think once you get to that 100-page mark, you start getting really invested into the book and invested with the characters and kind of their stories. And after that, like, the plot considerably picks up the pace, and everything is just all go from there, like all guns firing, and I got completely hooked after that point and was like really struggled to stop reading. The love story and romance was probably my favourite element of this book. It was so well done. the romance was so slow burning, and I really kind of am partial to a romance which is really kind of slow burning and it develops really slowly and naturally throughout the course of the book, and this had that, and I just loved it so much. The romance, like the secondary characters were excellent, and just the romance was just done so well, and I loved it, and I shipped them so hard. Like, it was awesome. The fantasy elements are also done really well in this novel. They are they're not really prevalent, but they are there, and I think they're done really well by the author. And finally, the writing was superb. It's really well done, really well written. You can really tell that it's a well written book when reading it. It's not just kind of run of the mill press. It's kind of constructed really well and put together well, and there's some really beautiful passages at times which I kind of wasn't expecting, but I found the writing really beautiful at some points, and I just really appreciated that about this book, that this book somehow managed to be everything I wanted. And this is the first book in a companion series. You are introduced to the other two characters who the other two books are focused on, but I believe it kind of follows the pattern of the Anna and the French Kiss series, if you've read that, where it follows a massive plot arc, but each character has their own story arc within that plot arc, if that makes sense. But of course, don't quote me on that because I've only read the first book, but I'm really looking forward to reading the second and third. This does, although not leave on a cliffhanger, it leaves so you want more of the story and kind of want to know what happens next, and I'm so excited to carry on, and I think Robin LaFevers did a really excellent job with this. So if you like fantasy kind of or historical fiction, and because this kind of could read like a kind of fantasy novel in some ways, I do get why people have classed it as fantasy even though it is historical, and you like things with slow burning romances and really complex characters, then I would highly recommend this. And if you've read this, let me know in the comments below and what you thought of it, and I'll see you all soon for another video. Bye!